Hey everybody, welcome back. My name is Abby and I'm with Fitness is Medicine. To start the month off right, we're going to get a good workout in. This is the time of year when it's easy to kind of let off, and with everything else going on, there's been a lot of people who are just kind of letting their workouts go, maybe not pushing as hard as normal. And this is a time of year when that happens anyway, with the cold weather and the holidays and the extra food and all of that. So we're going to get a good hard workout in today. I will show you modifications, but we're going to start with burpees. Yes. So I will show you some modifications on how to do that exercise, that dreaded exercise, and make it fun. So we'll make it work for you. So your equipment for today will be a set of dumbbells, and that would be really all you would need. But if you also have a ball or a fit ball, and then I'm going to use a kettlebell, but you can obviously also use dumbbell. So I'll show you a few different things that we're going to do. Make sure you warm up before starting this exercise session. So go out, get 5 to 10 minutes in of a good warm up before you come in and start this exercise. Okay, here we go. We're going to start, like I said, with burpees. So I'm going to show you what a full burpee looks like. You probably know a full one would be stand here, you jump down, jump your feet back, do a push-up, jump up, and then continue. That is a full one, which nobody here needs to do probably. So to start with, an easy way to start would be to use a bench or a kitchen chair or something. So if you put your hands on the bench, walk your feet back, walk your feet up, and stand up. So that would be a modified burpee. So that's level 1, we'll call it. The next level would be lowering yourself down to the floor. So you can start with your hands up, put your hands down, step your feet back into a plank, step back forward, and then stand up. So that is a burpee. Another way you can do it is what I call in my gym sometimes a walkout. So you're standing, you bend your knees, you walk out to a plank, and then you walk your hands back up and you stand. So you can do these any of those ways. So we do walkouts in other workouts. Essentially, it's a burpee. So either way, any way that you're going to do it, I'll show you with a chair even. So if you don't have a bench and you have a kitchen chair, stand, put your hands down, step back into a plank, step forward, stand up. That's one. Okay, so find your method that works for you. And let's do 10. Okay, so I'm going to start, go down, step back, jump forward, up. I'm not even going to do the push-up. 2. So I'll do them differently each time. 3. If you are stepping with your feet back like that, try to alternate which foot you step forward and back with, even if you're doing them with a chair. Now I'm going to walk out to one. Walk out to a plank. Come back up. That's 5, I think. 6. And also with walkouts, alter the hand that you lead with. 7. 8. You can put your hands over your head in between. 9. And 10. Okay, you just did some burpees. All right, next we're going to lower to the floor. I'm going to refresh my screen here. And we're going to do some one-legged bridges. So if you have tight hamstrings or a hamstring injury, start with a 2-leg bridge. So I'm going to start with that. And then you can decide if you want to try it with one leg. So importantly, with your bridge, you're lying flat on the back, your feet are flat on the floor, and you're going to press your back into the mat or the floor, and then press your hips up, squeezing those glutes. This is normal, typical bridge. I'm putting my heels, the weight through my heels, and then I'm coming down. So try that a few times. Make sure everything feels good with that. And if you're up to the challenge, let's try a one-leg bridge. So same thing, press your back to the mat, Press up, hold, and come down. So we're gonna do 5 on one side. These are quite a bit harder. So if you do 1 or 2 and you decide, no way, that's too much, just put your other foot down and continue on with 2 legs. So you're just holding 1 leg up, come back down, and 5. So you probably know by now this is working your glutes and your hamstrings. And you're really gonna feel this in those hamstrings, especially with just 1 leg. Remember, each time, kind of reconnect, press that back to the floor, press up. And your goal here is not to push your hips up as high as you can. We don't want to arch your back. Think about maintaining that flat back that you make when you press it to the floor to protect your low back. Many times I'll see people they want to arch up as high as they can, and that's a good way to injure yourself. You don't want to do that. So you're actually you flatten your back, hi Tubby, press up, squeezing through those glutes, and back down. Hi baby. So I'm going to do 5 on each side. If you're feeling good and you want to continue and you know that you can do these, go ahead and try 10 on each, but I think starting with just 5 per set on each leg is just enough. Come on, lay down. Okay, good. And if you do get a hamstring cramp, Tubby, come on, right here. Good boy. Straighten out your leg like this and release that hamstring. And if you're doing both, you can hold both up. But we'll definitely want to do a good hamstring stretch after doing those bridges. Hold each of them for 30 seconds. Make sure you do those at the very end of your exercise session if you're not doing them now. Okay. Next, we're going to grab those weights I was telling you about and do a standing shoulder press. Now, if you have low back pain or injury, do this seated. So do it either on a chair or on a ball to protect that low back. Because when you press a weight overhead, it gives your low back, it can make your low back a little bit unstable. Okay, I need to lift my camera up a little more. Okay, so remember when you pick your dumbbells up, be mindful of your back. So we're going to bring these up to your shoulders, and let's do these in a tandem stance. I've got that a little higher than I needed to, but that's okay. A tandem stance is 1 foot right in front of the other. We're going to press up towards the ceiling, both arms at the same time. So good shoulder press. When you press up here, make sure you're not arching your back at all. Don't press your hips forward to get that overhead. If you're doing that, you probably have a little bit too much weight. So press up, keeping your abs nice and tight to help protect your back. So you can either switch feet after 5 or do all 10 with 1 foot forward this time and then switch and do the other foot forward for the next set. 9, 10. Okay, if you do have shoulder pain with that, instead of pressing out like this, you can bring those elbows in and press here. Sometimes that can help your shoulders if you're having any pain. Okay, you can either hang on to one of those weights, or I'm going to use a kettlebell for some squats. So I'm going to bring this back down a little bit. Remember, be nice and careful with that back for your transitions. Oh, I can't find a happy medium with my camera here today. Okay. So squats, remember you want your feet a little wider than hip width apart. And we're going to just drop this weight straight down in between your feet. So when you do a squat, you want to think about pressing your hips back, putting your weight in your heels of your foot, keeping your chest and shoulders supported. I am wanting you to keep your chest looking forward with your eyes so that you're not bending your back like this to squat. So you want to sit those hips back like you're going to sit down into a chair and slowly come back up. The weight stays in your heels. You want those knees to stay back over your ankles. They're going to go forward just a little, but you don't want them going forward like this. No squatting like this. You got to sit those hips back. Nice and slowly, both directions. Keeping your chest up, keeping your shoulders back. Just dropping that weight right in between your feet. And making sure that your knees stay in alignment here. If they're collapsing, first of all, this is a good way to avoid that because there's nowhere for them to collapse to. But if they're collapsing in, you really want to think about keeping them in a nice straight line. And if you do look down, you want to be able to see those toes. And we're going to do 10 or 12 here. You to see how you're feeling. If you're holding a dumbbell, you can just hold it like this. Drop it between your feet just like that. If you don't have any of those things, you can also use a gallon jug of water or a heavier water bottle, something like that. Okay, now we're going to lower back down to the floor again. And we're going to do a side plank. So, again, there's lots of variations here. And you can start here with your knees bent. Importantly, you want your elbow beneath your shoulder. And then you want to keep your hips stacked and your shoulders stacked. So if you start here with your knees bent, and that is sort of level one. If you want to add a little extra, you can straighten out one knee. I'm going to turn here. And then if you still feel like that's okay, the other thing you can do is do this from a bench. So putting your elbow or your hand up on a bench like this. And you can do a side plank here, which is quite a bit easier than doing one on the floor. And you can also put your hand out. A lot of times people have a hard time doing it with their hand out just because their wrist may hurt, but you're welcome to try it either way. Doing it with your hand. If you want to try both feet out, so you're here and you want to try a little more, make sure your top foot stays in front. So if you were doing this in your method, hold it for about 30 seconds. You can come down and just watch these for a second. Keep your top foot in front. That helps keep your hips stacked and your shoulders stacked. Now, if you try it for a second with your feet out and it gets to be too hard, just drop that knee down. But you're still keeping everything in line here. Okay, let's try the other side. So remember, if you're able to do this at home and you know which method works for you, just start doing it and you can just follow along for ideas on, if you're having a tired day or. So the other way you can do it here is on your elbow. My top foot is in front. I'm going to push up like this. My shoulders are stacked, my hips are stacked. You can put one arm up in the air if you'd like. Remember, if you get tired, put one foot down. The other way you can do it is if you need a little more challenge, is just stack your feet. So they're going to be right on top of each other, and you press up. You want a straight line from the top of your feet to the top of your head. So you want to keep your head kind of in line with this side plank, not letting it go here. Typically, what people do is they kind of want to roll forward. So remember, keep those shoulders stacked, keep those hips stacked. So remember, if you get tired, just put one knee down. You're still engaging the same muscles. Okay, good, really good. So those you want to try to hold, start for about 15 seconds. If you're able to do that, push it a little more. Try 20 seconds, try 25. Work up to 30 seconds. And then if you need more challenge, of course, you can try holding it for longer. Just make sure you're maintaining those good stacked positions with your hips and your shoulders. Okay, finally, we're gonna end with a balance one. And you can either use a full-on fit ball, or you can use just like a playground ball. Lots of times people in my gym like to just use a playground ball because it's a little easier on their arms. I'm going to show you with a fit ball. We're going to do fit ball tip overs. So also a good way to do these is do it in front of your sofa or in front of a chair or somewhere so that you have kind of a landing platform. So you could do them, you know, in front of your bed, but you want to hold the ball out in front of you, and you're just going to tip over on one leg. And you want the leg that is tipping back to stay in line with your torso, with your back. So you're going nice and slowly, and you want to keep that in line. Sometimes I'll see people, they kind of bend forward and then they stick their leg back. Keep those shoulders back, keep everything in good alignment, and tip forward. If you need to add a little more challenge, bring that ball over your head, and then keep your arms, your torso, and the leg that's tipping back all in alignment. Kind of one of those clocks where the bird tips over like this, or the little bird feeder where the bird tips over. Nice and slowly. So we're challenging your balance here, and we're getting those hamstrings and glutes again that we got with those one leg bridges. Okay, now we're gonna switch legs. So if the ball is getting too heavy, you can drop it and just do it without, or grab like a playground ball, or just, you know, something light that you might have, a pillow, something like that. You can use either. Grabbing that ball is going to work your upper body and your shoulders a little more, so if they're tired from the other things we're doing, you can try a smaller ball. All right, so I'm gonna put this over my head, tip forward. So having that sort of landing platform, you don't necessarily land on it, but it gives you a visual to keep you balanced better, rather than doing it out in the middle of the room. If you would rather, if you're having an okay time with this, you can tip all the way down to the floor, especially if you're using a fit ball. You're going to reach that floor more quickly than with a smaller ball like I'm using now. You can tip all the way down, staying in good alignment. If all of these are just way too much, then try tipping forward. Maybe use your chair here. I'm going to refresh my screen here. If you have a sturdy chair or a kitchen counter, you can tip forward like this and use this for balance instead of relying on no upper extremity assistance. You can use that so that you're still able to go through the motions and you're still challenging that balance, but you have a safety net. You have something there that will catch you, something to grab. Remember, I want it to be sturdy, so kitchen counter, or maybe by your sink, or a chair. You can do it next to your treadmill, somewhere sturdy. Okay, so try to begin with, start with 5 on each leg. I think I just did way more than that. But start with 5 on each leg and then work your way up. See if you can do 10. And like I said, you can start with a fit ball. If your arms start to get tired, either just drop it or use a smaller ball, whatever that you can do to challenge yourself in a safe manner. Okay, now press pause, go do 5 minutes of cardio, come back, do it again, do 5 minutes of cardio, do it a third time through if you're really up for a good workout. Remember, we want a good calorie burn. All of this is so good for your immune system and for your mood and all of those things, sleep. All of this exercise is good for everything that you need in your life. So push yourself to try to do a little bit more each time. If you've only been doing these through one time, try it a second time. Even if you don't do any cardio in between, just rewind, do it again, and just push yourself to do just a little bit more. All right, thanks everybody. Remember to like my page, subscribe to my videos, and keep moving. I'll see you next time. Thanks everybody.